Well, it's that time. Opening day is tomorrow, so here we are with another predictions video. Odds are many of my takes will be wrong again this year, but you know what? At least I always guess the Dodgers, White Sox, and Astros correctly. And screw it, this year, these predictions won't suck. Anyways, let me know what you think of my takes below and who you see doing well. So let's start off with the AL Central. In fifth, I've got Chicago. No surprise here, the team who had one of the worst records in baseball since 1900 went and added nothing of note this offseason, and notably, don't have Garrett Crochet now. Fingers crossed that Sean Burke is fun to watch because there's nothing else to be excited for. In fourth, I've got the Twins. They once again might be projected to be the slight favorites to win the AL Central, but I don't buy it anymore. They always get injured and underachieve. Oh, and look, Royce Lewis is out for a couple months again. The Twins will still be a respectable team, but after a quiet offseason while only having a solid offense, a good closer, and a couple strong starting pitchers, I'm not moved. In third, I've got the Kansas City Royals. Kansas City had a great year and managed to sneak into the playoffs last year. I love their young core, but they need everyone to be healthy, and that includes Vinny P. Only adding a likely solid Jonathan India trade this offseason wasn't enough either to get it done for me. I think they will just be a good team in 2025. Next, I've got Cleveland finishing second. The Guardians had an amazing 92-win 2024 season with an unreal performance by their bullpen and top few bats. They traded away some of their key hitters from last year and will be banking on some rookies to break out. I expect another strong year, but a bit of regression from both their hitting and pitching. And lastly, I have the Tigers winning the AL Central. As a diehard Tigers fan, I actually undershot their win total last season and didn't expect them to make the playoffs. This year, I won't make that mistake again. The Tigers are a young team with a lot of talent and now added back some veteran leadership in Gleyber Torres, Jack Flaherty, and Tommy Kahnle. The Central will be theirs. Now to the NL Central. To start, I've got the Pirates getting fifth. I really want to believe in this team, such a great fan base and ballpark. Unfortunately, also an ownership that refuses to spend. They have a couple of great starters and two really good hitters, but a weak bullpen and lackluster offense will hold them back. For fourth, I've got St. Louis. The Cards have some solid hitters with potential, but did nothing of note this offseason besides losing Goldie and Andrew Kittredge. A team with one, maybe two solid starting pitchers and only one reliable bullpen arm, they won't do much this year. I've got the Reds coming in third here. Adding Brady Singer and Gavin Lux is interesting, but also doesn't move the needle too much to me. I think the Reds will have a nice offense this year, but are thin at starting pitching and have a below average bullpen. Overall, should be an average MLB team. In second, I've got the Cubbies. Chicago had an active offseason highlighted by trades for Kyle Tucker and Ryan Presley, along with a few solid free agent signings. The Cubs should be closely competing for a playoff spot this year, but I see them just barely missing out in 2025. I wouldn't be the least bit shocked if they find a way in, though. Last year, I doubted the potential of Milwaukee and was left surprised and impressed. I'm not doubting them now. They did lose Devin Williams, but then again, he barely pitched last season and they still won 93 games. Also, I love the addition of Nestor Cortez they got back for Williams, and don't forget, Brandon Woodruff is coming back from injury. They aren't projected to win the division this year, but I am riding with the Brew Crew in 2025. Moving to the AL West now, in last, I have the Angels. I doubted them heavily last year and was rewarded. They did go out and sign a few one-year players to likely trade at the deadline, which is smart, but the second half of their 2025 year will be brutal. For fourth, I think it's clearly the Athletics. I really like their core of hitting with Rooker, Butler, Langoliers, and Blade. I also thought they finally had a solid offseason, adding some decent pieces in Luis Severino, Jeffrey Springs, and Jose Leclerc. I like where they are trending, but still don't see too big of a year for this team. In third, I have Seattle. Talk about a horrible offseason. This organization has one of the best starting pitching rotations in the last 10 to 20 years, but refuses to build a team around that. After 85 wins last year, they did nothing but lose a couple of contributors from the year prior. Mariners fans deserve better. I have the Rangers finishing second here. After being a huge disappointment of a team in 2024, the 2023 champs aim to bounce back with some solid offseason additions. Bringing in guys like Chris Martin, Jock Peterson, and Jake Berger will help. Big question for this team is how healthy will their pitching be this year? If they can stay healthy, expect better, but I need to see it to believe it. Second for now, and barely squeaking into the postseason is what I have. And lastly, since 2016, the Astros have won the AL West, outside of the 2020 shortened year. They lost Tucker, but added back Isaac Paredes and signed Christian Walker. Make that 9 straight division titles this year. Going into the AL West, alongside the White Sox, it's an easy prediction to have the Rockies in last. An offseason of near nothing on top of few prospects to be hyped about, they will once again have a nice home record and may surprise some by having over 60 wins. I have San Fran finishing 4th this year. I like their addition of Willy Adames, but see this addition only being enough to counteract the losses of Blake Snell and Taylor Rogers. The Giants could be much better than 2024 with a potential breakout year from Helio Ramos, Jung-Hoo Lee, or Tyler Fitzgerald, but they are in a tough division. Give me the same record as 2024 here. In third, I've got the Padres. San Diego has notably been having some ownership issues, which would explain their lackluster offseason. Nick Pivetta is a nice addition, but they lost quite a few key pieces from the year before. I still see a solid season, but nothing compared to the 93 wins of last year. Coming in at runner-up, I have Arizona here. Arizona lost a few key contributors in Christian Walker and Jock Peterson, had Ketel Marte have a career year, but also added some great pieces in Josh Naylor and Corbin Burns. You could argue this team improves on their win total from the last year, but I think a repeat of 89 wins, though this time a wildcard berth, is where the Diamondbacks will be at. And the best team in baseball, the World Series champions, they ignored their injuries and still dominated. Oh, and did I mention they had an amazing offseason, adding the likes of Blake Snell, Tanner Scott, and Roki Sasaki? I might be undershooting them at only 104 wins. Moving on to the AL East, I have the Blue Jays coming in last. They added a few solid players in free agency in Santander and Yimi Garcia, and are taking a chance on an Andres Jimenez comeback. Now there is a chance it all meshes and Bo Bichette comes back as well to restore what the Blue Jays were for the couple of years prior, but I have a feeling it won't work out and that Vlad might get traded at the deadline. In fourth, I've got the Rays. The Rays always find value out of their players, but are so heavily reliant on rookies and have a lot of injury-prone pitchers. Their young guys should provide value, but I don't know if they will be able to do enough to make this team anything above middle of the pack in a loaded AL East division. Next, I've got the Orioles coming in at third. The O's may have lost the likes of Santander and Burns, and have lost Grayson Rodriguez for a fair bit of time to injury, but their offense is legit. Also, watch Sagano and Morton quietly log solid seasons for a team needing starting pitching. Their pitching staff should be just good enough to get them in the playoffs once again. For second, I've got the Yankees. I originally had them winning the division, but the loss of Cole to Tommy John and Luis Gil for most of the season changed my mind. Their offense will still be great. They lost Juan Soto, but added Cody Bellinger and Paul Goldschmidt. They have a solid pitching staff, even with the injuries, but I believe it'll be just weak enough to hold them back from winning the division this year. And I have Boston winning the division for the first time since 2018. Boston has a plethora of young players and top-tier prospects ready to produce, have added Alex Bregman into an already stout lineup, and now have added Garrett Crochet, Patrick Sandoval, and Walker Buehler to a rotation that needed help. I see these moves, along with a top 5 offense in the MLB this year, letting the Red Sox take the AL East. Lastly, we move to the NL East, and no shock here, Miami is in last. The Marlins do return Sandy Alcantara, but to a team who traded away multiple contributors from the year prior and added no current MLB talent outside of Cal Quantrill. I might be crazy for saying this, but I don't find that to be a big impact addition. At least they can enjoy the great weather and nightlife around the city. In fourth, I've got the Nationals. This team has a ton of young talent expecting to put in big minutes, namely James Wood, Dylan Cruz, and CJ Abrams. It should be a fun year seeing the future of this team, but the surrounding talent, namely the pitching rotation and relief pitching staff, will hold the team back in an overall strong NL East. In third, it's the Mets. The other New York took Juan Soto and locked him up for the rest of his career, and also added Clay Holmes for 3 years. I love both of these signings and think they will make immediate impacts. The star power will be elite on this team, but the depth of the rotation and bullpen will hold them back from winning the division this year. For second place, I have the Braves. This was such a tough choice. I could see it go either way. Atlanta is losing Max Fried, but are returning a lot of players from injury, signed Jurickson and Profar, and hope for more than a couple of star players to bounce back. The main reason I can't commit to giving them the division is the uncertainty of when Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna Jr. come back from the IL and how effective they will be. And in first, I have the Phillies repeating as NL East champs. Their team structure isn't going to change much from the year prior, but they will be adding a couple of interesting players in Jordan Romano and Jesus Luzardo. The only semi-weak point of this team is the bullpen, but I expect it to be plenty good enough for a playoff berth and likely enough for another division title. So, taking a look at the playoffs, in the American League, my division winners are the Houston Astros, Boston Red Sox, and the Detroit Tigers, with my wild card teams being the New York Yankees, Baltimore Orioles, and the Texas Rangers. And over in the NL, my division winners are the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Milwaukee Brewers, along with the wild card teams of the Atlanta Braves, the New York Mets, and the Arizona Diamondbacks. And lastly, my World Series prediction. I've got the Boston Red Sox playing the Los Angeles Dodgers, but I just can't see any team taking down the Dodgers this year, so I've got them winning in 6 games. I don't know if anyone can stop the Dodgers, but then again, you never know what can happen in baseball, which is why I expect a real exciting 2025 season. I'm looking forward to your takes, so make sure to comment below. And if you can, hit that like or subscribe button on the way out, and best of luck to your team in 2025.